All right, I just want to note that I am recording these a week early, so we don't know what the results of the Week 12 games are, and they don't include the Week 12 stats. That's because I'm going to be away Thanksgiving week, so I'm going to do two games in this video. And the first one we're starting with is Green Bay Packers. The look-ahead line for Week 13 is -3.5 towards the Packers at home, and 3.5 for the Dolphins. A lot of how this has to do with Miami going to Green Bay. But if we look at the last four stats, the Dolphins are scoring a lot more, 27.8 to Packers 22. And the defense in the Packers is slightly getting more and more. I do think Malik Willis would be better at running this type of offense from Matt LaFleur than Love is. And you saw how they dominated with running and throwing with Malik Willis. I really liked that when Love was injured. And they're really, really struggling sometimes with some of these throws that just aren't open because they're playing a pass a lot more with Love, and where defenses have to play one extra guy in the box against Malik Willis because he can run so well, along with Josh Jacobs. But the defense is up to 23 points per game. And the Dolphins is really the same, 23 also. Dolphins defense has gotten some of the guys back, so they're not as injured, which explains that. But the struggle for the Dolphins defense is always the passing defense, 266. And I wouldn't be surprised just to have them keep the extra guy out of the box playing against Love and playing pass defense mostly. The Packers are really good on defense, 176. So, but they are giving up 7 passing yards per attempt to the Packers. So teams just haven't been trying to throw on them, or they're just giving up a lot of deep throws, as they did against Caleb Williams in Week 11. But passing yards per attempt for the Packers are 9.6. Love has the tendency just to throw it up, kind of like Brett Favre did, and hope their receivers catch it. But the Dolphins with 266 on defense passing yards is going to be a struggle. And Love may be able to take advantage of that. We'll see in Green Bay. Depends on weather also. 223 currently the last 4 games with the Dolphins, but that does not include Tua in one of those games. So it's definitely more with him if you're just averaging the last 3 games. And they're throwing 7.5 in the air per attempt, and defense only giving up 6.9 per attempt. Rushing yards per attempt is 4.7 for the Packers, 4.3 for the Dolphins. Defense for the Packers, 4.4. Dolphins, 4.0. Now the rushing is pretty even there, and the rushing has got better for the Dolphins in the last 2 games because Tua isn't out the quarterback, obviously. We look at points per play, 2.4 on offense for the Packers, but 3.9 for the Dolphins. Dolphins have really upped that, but their defense giving up 4.6 compared to Packers 3.6. So the Dolphins' struggle here is going to be their defense, but they have gotten better over the past few weeks. Full expected points, -0.5 for Packers, 5.5 for the Dolphins. That would lead us to a -6 spread for the Dolphins. Like I said, they're on the road in Green Bay, so it'll be a little harder, but that -6 for total expected points would definitely be a bet for the Dolphins if you're going that route. I wouldn't mind putting that in a teaser already. 6-point teaser would take it up to 9.5 and find another game to match it with. You have good confidence in with a 6-point teaser. Well, let's scroll over here to game cards. We got 46.5% chance. For the Packers, a win 53.5, and these are simulations based on stats, offense, and defense, both teams, the last 4 games. -2 spread for the Dolphins. That would be another way of betting that. Like I said, it will definitely be a teaser game, of 6-point teaser. And the cards are mixed. You got passing yards per attempt, rushing yards per attempt is tied. Yards per attempt is better for Packers. Now the points per game should go to the Dolphins. And that's because they have the best stats that are green here. Points per play, 0.2 better. Expected points, which is offense, defense only, no special teams. That is a lot higher. That would be 2.7 higher. Yards per play, that is 1.8 higher. Turnovers are pretty much even to me. And total expected points we've gone through. But the only thing you want to worry about is point differential. And point differential would put you at a 7.7 spread or 7.5. That favors the Packers, and that would be a bet if you go that route. So remember that when you're betting. But I do like the teaser, even with that point differential of 7.5, because that would bring me up at 9.5 points that the Dolphins can lose by or they can win. If you're betting on this game, I wish you good luck. And let's move on to our second game here. We have the Kansas City Chiefs at home with a look-ahead line of -12.5 on DraftKings, and the Raiders at 12.5. A huge spread here to start with, and this will likely come down maybe a point or two. We'll see who the quarterback is for this game, since, as I said, I'm recording this a week early. You never know who they're going to put in at quarterback for the Raiders. But currently on offense, 23.5 points per game. For the Chiefs, and the defense is getting a little worse as this season goes on, 22.0. Their offense on the Raiders, 19.5 is all, and the defense has been atrocious this year at 30.5. And that's just the last 4 games. That's pretty much the same all year. Passing yards per game, 234 for the Chiefs, 204 for the Raiders, the offenses anyways. Chiefs passing defense has been one of the better ones in the league, but they're now up to 207 yards per game on the defense, and the Raiders giving up 228 in the air. The passing yards per attempt, 6.4 for the Chiefs. On offense, 6.1 for the Raiders. Pretty similar, actually, but 6.8 for the Chiefs defense and 7.0 for the Raiders. Definitely not their problem. I can already tell you their turnover problem for the Raiders is really what's killing them. Let's look at rushing yards per attempt, 3.5. That's not great in this league. That's below average, well below average, but the Raiders are even worse, 3.1, which is one of the worst in the league. Defense for the Chiefs, 3.4, one of the better ones in the league. And the Raiders are pretty good at 3.6. Yards per attempt, 4.5. No, let's just skip that one actually. Let's go to points per play. That's one of the most important stats in the NFL here. 2.6 on offense for Chiefs, 2.3 for the Raiders, 2.9 for the Chiefs, and 4.9 for the Raiders. And defense has just got to stop giving up the huge play. They need to maybe play with a spy and cover 2 here against the Chiefs and keep everything in front of them, and don't let anyone get over the top. But that secondary has been one of the worst in the league this year. Total expected points is only 0.8 for the Chiefs' last 4 games, but the Raiders are negative 11.1. That would take us to 11.9, so negative 12, which is basically right where the line is set. If let's do a point differential line 2, you got negative 4.5 in this one. You want a negative number? and 9.8 for the Raiders because I do opposite. I should do total expected points the same way because it's easier to match spreads. So, because the spread, your favorite is a negative number. So 9.7, so 14.7, and so 14 and a half. So negative 14 and a half for the Chiefs as favorites, and that would be a 2-point margin, and I'm still not betting that. Let's scroll over here to game cards. We got 75.2% chance for the Chiefs to win, and our simulations of offense and defense stats, 24.8% chance for the Raiders to win, and the spread should be around -7 and +7 for the Raiders. If you go through using our simulations, that would be a bet, but I just don't know about this Raiders team being and at Chiefs. I can see the Chiefs definitely winning this by more than a touchdown or 2 touchdowns. I don't know. That might be a really good bet if, but it also depends who's playing quarterback and who's playing for the defense as that team continues to be banged up and people are in and out of the lineup. It's all green here, so I don't have much to say for the game cards. But my name is Jordy. You've been watching Betman Sports Betting, and I'll see you in the next video.